Starting on Thursday, September 10th, the National Football League will begin another 256 game schedule, which will culminate on Sunday, February 7th at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida, with Super Bowl 55. And for the 9th year in a row, we welcome you to this very special edition of Strictly Sports, the 2020 NFL Schedule Release Special. Hello, friends, and welcome to this very special edition of Strictly Sports, the 2020 NFL Schedule Release Special. I am your host, Anthony Florio. I am joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher, awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. Hopefully he'll be here. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then I'm sure we'll have him tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. But tonight is a day that a lot, or I should say all, NFL diehard fans have waited for since the confetti dropped at Hard Rock Stadium back in February when Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs ended their 50-year Super Bowl drought. The release of the 2020 NFL schedule, of course, knock on wood, because of, the madness, the continuing madness that we have to endure every day. But I got to tell you, tonight, this is going to be a much needed distraction from all of that. And this is probably the most exciting show we've done yet. I mean, this is only the third time we've done a Strictly Sports show, since this whole nightmare started. We did one show back on March 19th with all the big free agent hot stove news. And then just a couple of weeks ago, we did our NFL draft recap, the show that MF looks forward to. But now this is the show that I look more forward to, the release of the schedule. And without any further ado, let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right on in. I'm ready to go. So here we go. And MF, what a game for us to start with, because, per our creed, our decree, our tradition of the Super Bowl champion. And last year, as you all remember, we had the Green Bay Packers against the Chicago Bears in the very first game. But that was only because it was the 100th NFL season, and they wanted to honor that, and what a better way to start it off. Well, we're back to the old tradition, which is the Super Bowl champs playing in the first game. So here we are, the week one schedule, and it is as follows. Well, we're not going to get into all of it, but what we are going to do is we're going to break down the games that we personally consider the must-see games. So it all starts on Thursday night, September the 10th, when the Kansas City Chiefs will raise their first Super Bowl banner in 50 years into the rafters at Arrowhead Stadium. And they will do it against the team that they defeated in the divisional playoff, that team being the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans are going to be coming into Kansas City. MF and I cannot wait. We're going to be up in arms for that one. And what a magical sight that's going to be to see that banner ceremony. It's going to be amazing. That's the Thursday game. Sunday, September 13th, notable games only. The Seattle Seahawks squaring off against the Atlanta Falcons, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Definitely like the looks of that one. And as predicted by MF last night, Jay Glazer reported it. Eric Carrier posted it on his Facebook. MF noticed it. And guess what? It wasn't a rumor. It actually was true. It will be the Miami Dolphins squaring off against the New England Patriots at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. The first time since, 99, 2000, that the New England Patriots are going to be, we're going to see a Patriots game, regular season game, without Tom Brady. Man, that is going to be something. The Green Bay Packers against the Minnesota Vikings. You know the history there. And then from there, the Cleveland Browns squaring off against the Baltimore Ravens. Can the Cleveland Browns bounce back from that disappointing season? You know, we all believed in the hype, and well, I believed in the hype, and look what ended up happening. They ended up disappointing. What else is new? And then the first game of the brand new Las Vegas Raiders. They're going to be squaring off against the Carolina Panthers in Charlotte. Those are the early game highlights. In the late window, the Los Angeles Chargers against the Cincinnati Bengals. The first game of new Bengals quarterback and number 1 overall draft pick, Joe Burrow. And he's going to be going up against either Tyrod Taylor or Justin Herbert for the Chargers. Because as you all know, Phillip Rivers, he's now an Indianapolis Colt. And his Colts will be in Jacksonville against the Jaguars in their first game. That's at 4:05 on CBS. But all eyes are going to be on the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans, 425. And I am not at all surprised that they booked it like this. You know Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are going to be all over this one. The new look Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady and Gronk squaring off against Drew Brees and that high-powered New Orleans Saints offense. Oh, my. If that doesn't scream game of the week, I don't know what does. But this one comes pretty damn close to it. The season premiere of Sunday Night Football, the Dallas Cowboys squaring off against the Los Angeles Rams in the first ever NFL regular season game at the brand new, beautiful, and I mean beautiful, SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. And then on Monday night, the traditional Monday Night Football doubleheader, 7:15 kickoff, both games on ESPN. In the first game, we will see the Pittsburgh Steelers squaring off against the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium. And then from there, the Tennessee Titans squaring off against the Denver Broncos in the second half of that doubleheader at 10:10. So there you have it. The notable games of week number 1 of the 2020 NFL season. And good old MF Michael Fletcher, as I give it to you, what a better way to start it off than seeing the Chiefs raise that Super Bowl banner when they host the Texans in the rematch of that unbelievable divisional game we had back in January. MF, are you there?
Sorry about that. It wasn't that I unmute my mic, is that I got like a second mic attached to my little headset. That was muted. I don't know how that happened. Anyway, I was going to say that I'm very excited for the first game. The Chiefs and the Texans. That's going to be a really good matchup. Like you said, Miami and New England. Miami going back to the scene of the crime when they ruined the Patriots season. Patriot fans definitely is harboring some ill will towards the Dolphins on that game. So that's going to be a good Sunday game. But then 2 good games on Fox at 4:25. Yes, everybody's talking about Buccaneers and Saints. That's a big one. But there's an underrated game. The new look Arizona Cardinals going up against the NFC champions, San Francisco 49ers. That one could be that could be a sleeper matchup, Anthony. That could be a sleeper game of the week. And then obviously Cowboys versus Rams. We're gonna have to see what happens with the Dak Prescott situation. What's that gonna look like in that game? And then 2 very good Monday night games, to say the very least. So yeah, no, you pretty much covered everything in week 1. So let's get right into week 2.
Okay, and of course MF will be starting off on that. But one quick note: week 2 will feature the season premiere of Thursday Night Football, and this game will be on the NFL Network when the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow and company, go up to Cleveland against the Browns. So the season premiere of Thursday Night Football to kickstart week 2. MF, you see the matchups. What stands out?
That's going to be an interesting matchup because I'm going to start, even though I don't think we're going to see anything amazing from either team, but it's number 1 quarterback or number one draft pick, Joe Burrow, the rookie, going up against former number one draft pick Baker Mayfield. That's going to be the matchup. That's going to be the thing that they're going to be talking about in that one. Then once you get down to the nitty gritty, then you got two of the old guards of the NFL, the Giants, going up against the Chicago Bears. That's more of a kind of a matchup where those are like two of the old Titans, two of the old school teams, the original. You know how in the NHL you got the original six. Well, the Giants and the Bears are two of the original NFL teams way back when. Two of the oldest standing teams in the National Football League. They're gonna go at it, and that's gonna be an interesting matchup. You got a sleeper matchup with Jacksonville and Tennessee. The Titans and the Jaguars might be a sleeper matchup. Of course, the first another Buddy Bowl and a very crucial game in the AFC East when the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins get it on at Hard Rock Stadium. So you got that one going down. Of course, the later games, you got yourselves a really good matchup for a 425 Kansas City making their first time chance going into SoFi Stadium as the Chargers have their home debut in the brand new stadium. And that's very interesting because when the Chargers and the Chiefs get it on, fireworks normally tend to happen in that game. So that's one game that we could look at. Of course, there's another good matchup, the Baltimore Ravens and the Houston Texans. But Sunday night at 8:20 in Seattle, Patriots versus Seahawks, a rematch of Super Bowl 49. And we all remember that game. Yes, it's different teams, but you know they're going to try to harken back to the old school and that kind of matchup. And then talk about grand debuts. Monday Night Football, the next night, the grand opening of that beautiful billion-dollar palace in Vegas as the New Orleans Saints. Yep. The new black hole, as I like to say.
It's called.
Go ahead.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I finally know the name of it. It's known as Allegiant Stadium.
Allegiant Stadium. All right, cool. So Allegiant Stadium, aka the spaceship, aka the new black hole in Vegas. So yeah, this is going to be a good matchup to say the very least. And those are the games that stands out for me for week 2. So Florio, go ahead. It's yours.
All right. Obviously, you got to start with that great Thursday night matchup, Cincinnati and Cleveland. I mean, it's probably the most excited we've been for a Cincy Cleveland game in 30 years or so, since the days of Boomer Esiason and Bernie
Kosar.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah, those were some fun games back in the day. Carolina against Tampa Bay, Tom Brady and Gronk. Their home debut at Raymond James Stadium against Carolina. That should be something. A great old school AFC matchup. A few of these games in the past, MF. Denver against Pittsburgh. I mean, that's definitely one that stands out to me at Heinz Field. You got the Rams going up against Philadelphia. That's a standout game for me. Some of these other games, I'm surprised MF didn't mention. Atlanta against Dallas. I mean, that looks good to me. Detroit at Green Bay. We all remember what happened on that very controversial Monday night game last year between those two at Lambeau. I'm sure there's going to be some bad blood there. And then from there, how about Minnesota against Indianapolis? I like that matchup very much so. Phillip Rivers, his first game at Lucas Oil Stadium as an Indianapolis Colt. So we'll see how that goes. Of course, Buffalo, Miami. I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, we feel that we might be in for a balance of power, a switching of the guard, a changing of the guard in the AFC East, and that game could be very significant. Could be a significant game as to who ends up winning that division ultimately. The Chargers opening up their version, the Chargers get to open up SoFi Stadium on their end, and what a great first opponent, Patrick Mahomes and the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Baltimore and Houston, of course, that's definitely for us right there, MF. New England and Seattle, what else is there to say? Super Bowl 49, five-star classic, Shakespearean drama at its finest. Nobody will ever forget the epic intercepted that we let out when Butler intercepted that at the end, which sent everybody into mass hysteria. And then the opening of the brand new Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, when the Las Vegas Raiders, and what a great first opponent they got coming in, Drew Brees and the high-powered New Orleans Saints. I mean, we got quite a few standout games in week number 2. I mean, week number 1 for us, it's all about Houston and Kansas City, and rightfully so, because that's our tradition. But in week 2, I mean, we could consider Cincy and Cleveland. That's one to consider for us on our end. Maybe Buffalo and Miami, Baltimore and Houston, and maybe New England and Seattle. I don't know. We'll see. But all I know is that's a great slate of action. Week number 2. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing how that all goes down. Alrighty, now let's go on. Let's move on to week number 3, and let's take a look at the standout matchups here. Well, I don't know if this is going to be a good game or not, but I'm going to mention it anyway because it's not often that MF's Miami Dolphins get a primetime game, but MF, you got one. Your Miami Dolphins will be kicking off week number 3 in Jacksonville against the Jaguars. So a rare primetime game for MF and the Dolphins. Moving on to the Sunday slate. Houston against Pittsburgh. That looks like a fun game to me. Cincinnati squaring off against Philadelphia. I like that matchup. Las Vegas Raiders coming to Foxborough against the Patriots. That could be an interesting game right there. Tennessee Titans against the Minnesota Vikings. That's a sleeper game right there. You might want to consider that one. The Washington Redskins against the Cleveland Browns. Chase Young, the number 2 pick for Washington, and their new head coach Ron Rivera going to Cleveland. That's another sleeper matchup for me. The Rams against Buffalo. Oh boy. Oh, that's got potential to be a fun one in Buffalo when Goff and the Rams go up against my Buffalo Bills. Big time game there. And then from there, looking at the rest of the slate, not too many exciting games, but once we get to the late portion, that's the late portion. That's when it gets good. Dallas against Seattle in that 4:25 window, and you also have another interesting matchup with Tampa Bay against Denver. Definitely like those couple of games on Fox. Sunday Night Football. Oh my goodness, this has potential to be a 5-star shootout. If you like defense, MF, and for any of you other defensive enthusiasts, this is not the game for you. The Green Bay Packers against the New Orleans Saints at the Superdome in New Orleans. Aaron Rodgers against Drew Brees. First to 50 wins. That's all there is to say there. And then Monday Night Football. This might be our game in week 3, MF. Just saying. The Kansas City Chiefs squaring off against the Baltimore Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. Think about that. This has the potential of another shootout. Patrick Mahomes against Lamar Jackson. Is there anything else I have to say on that?
Mm-mm.
So for me, those are the week 3 games. MF, you see the matchups. Obviously, KC and Baltimore, that's our headliner. But other than that, what stands out in week 3 to you?
Texans and Steelers is one game that you can keep an eye on. That definitely could be a sneaky one. The Titans and the Vikings, you're absolutely right. That could also be a sneaky one. I don't really see anything others. Maybe the Panthers and the Chargers. How's that gonna look? And for all you old school enthusiasts, the Jets and the Colts. That actually could be a little bit of an interesting game. How's that gonna look? Then of course Lions and Cardinals. Who knows how that plays out? Dallas and Seahawks. But yeah, like you said, the game of the week and probably the quote unquote game of the century is the Chiefs and the Ravens. Those two teams were the best two teams in the AFC last year, and it was a damn shame that the Ravens got upended because my God, what an AFC championship game that could have been if the Chiefs and the Ravens would have gone at it. Oh,
that would have been fun.
What
a 5-star shootout.
What might have been, but what a matchup it's going to be, and we get it so early in the year.
On a Monday night, nonetheless. Not often we get those kind of games, but we'll take it. So, yeah, we're going to be ready for week number 3, no doubt about it. So if that's all, MF, let's move on to week number 4. There's still no buys. So, MF, you see the matchups for week number 4. What stands out to you?
All right. I mean, we'll start the Thursday night, the Broncos and the Jets. I mean, that could be a decent game. I've heard a lot of good things about the Broncos, especially Drew Lock and everything else, revamped defense. They think that they might have something a la a Super Bowl 50 type team. If that's true, that could be interesting. And then, of course, you got to go down Steelers and Titans right out of the gate. Whoa. That could be fun. Chargers and Buccaneers, that could be interesting. Seahawks and Miami. Seahawks, good team, decent team, but you're going out east to Miami in that warm weather, that humidity. How's that going to play out? I don't know. Colts and Bears might be an underlying middle of the road game. Could be a sneaky game. Watch out for that one. Then you get the Saints and, actually, no. Then you get the Vikings and the Texans. You get the Bills and the Raiders. Good luck, Anthony. You're going to Vegas for the first time. Hope your boys are focused and ready. But the final 3 games. Oh my goodness. Batten down the hatches. Patriots and Kansas City. Whoa. In KC at Arrowhead. We already know the wars. You don't even need to say anything. Then you got the Eagles and the Niners at Levi Stadium, and a Monday night possible shootout with Matty Ice, Matt Ryan, and the Atlanta Falcons, and Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau. Whoa. We got some good matchups, Anthony. We got some very good matchups.
Indeed, we do. In week number 4, how about Baltimore and Washington? I mean, how is Chase Young? How is the number 2 overall pick, Chase Young? How is he gonna fare against that dangerous offense of Lamar Jackson and the Ravens?
Is he gonna can he get his hands on Lamar Jackson and lay the lumber on him if Lamar even thinks about trying to run with the football? Because that's why they got Chase Young, for a guy like him to spy on the quarterback, to basically blow him up, saying, you ain't doing all that RPO garbage. You stay in the pocket.
So that's definitely one to keep an eye on there. Pittsburgh and Tennessee, a lot of history between those two, especially in the old AFC Central. I mean, some great wars between those two teams over the years. Seattle and Miami, I mean, how will MF's Dolphins, that new look defense, how are they going to fare against Russell Wilson and company? That's going to remain to be seen. Indianapolis and Chicago, not really all that much of a standout, but I only bring it up because that is a Super Bowl rematch. Of course, those two teams met in Super Bowl 41. That monsoon in Miami, we all remember that. A very rainy night. Oof. how long it took us to get dried off.
Dude, we got waterlogged in Miami that night, man. I'm used to it. I love the rain. You were definitely not having fun that night. Like you had no fun at all that night.
How yeah, you love you love those rainy games where there's the potential of slop and mud, and I know how much you love that.
Oh yeah.
And where I'm more of the cold weather snow guy, you know me. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that portion of the schedule later on. But
Oh yeah.
here's a game you forgot to mention, MF. This is one that stands out to me. A game that I can't believe Fox got instead of us. It should have been on our side, but Fox ended up getting it. Cleveland and Dallas. I'm looking forward to that matchup. I mean, Mayfield and the Browns against maybe Dak or maybe even Andy Dalton and the Cowboys. I mean, that's going to be very interesting. That's a game that definitely stands out to me. Minnesota and Houston, absolutely. That's got potential to be a nice little shootout there. Buffalo going to Vegas. Yeah. Our first ever trip to the new Allegiant Stadium. I mean, I can't wait to see how that goes down. New England and Kansas City. Now, it's not going to really be the same because, as you know, Brady and Gronk aren't there anymore. It might be Jarrett Stidham's team now. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't know about that one. But we'll see. We'll see. Philly and San Francisco on the Sunday night. That's got potential to be a decent matchup. And Atlanta and Green Bay, absolutely, at Lambeau. The not yet frozen tundra of Lambeau. It'll probably be the mild tundra of Lambeau in October. So, yeah, definitely some very good matchups in week number 4. No question about that. Now let's move on to week number 5. And 2 teams will be on bye that week. The Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. They're going to be on bye that week. And let's get into the matchups for week number 5. Brady and Gronk in Tampa going to Chicago against the Bears at Soldier Field on the Thursday night. Nice way to start off that week. And then from there, speaking of high-powered offenses, Jared Goff and the Rams against Washington. Chase Young, how's he going to fare against that offense? We'll have to wait and see. Buffalo Bills against the Tennessee Titans in Nashville. I have waited 21 years for that moment. And believe you me, if there's ever a game that I want, other than the Dolphin games, of course, that's one I've wanted. That is one that I have had to live with for 21 long years. Call it the Music City Miracle, but I still to this day call it the Music City Screw Job. Buffalo should have won that game. It was a forward pass, not a lateral. Thank you. All right, moving on. The Battle of the Keystone State. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Battle of Pennsylvania. Always fun when they get together. Cincinnati Bengals against the Baltimore Ravens. Joe Burrow against the Ravens in Baltimore. Definitely an interesting matchup there. The Las Vegas Raiders against the Kansas City Chiefs. They may not be in Oakland anymore, but it's still Raiders and Chiefs.
Yep.
Still a lot of history. Denver and New England. That could constitute a sleeper matchup there. MF's Dolphins going up against the San Francisco 49ers, the NFC champs at Levi's Stadium. Good luck, MF. See how that goes. Giants at Dallas. You know the history there. Always fun when they get together. Indianapolis against Cleveland. Phillip Rivers and leading the Colts against Baker Mayfield and the Browns. That's definitely a nice matchup there. I like that one. Minnesota against Seattle. They had a nice game. They had a fun game last year. We'll see what happens. That'll be on a Sunday night, Minnesota and Seattle. And then Monday Night Football, the Chargers going to the Superdome against the Saints. So those are the standout matchups in week number 5. So MF, I mean, my Bills going up against Tennessee. I've waited 20-plus years for some sweet revenge there. But your Dolphins in a Super Bowl 19 rematch against the NFC champs at Levi's.
Yeah, no, this is going to be an interesting week, but like you said, Chargers and Saints is definitely a good one. Minnesota, Seattle. Anytime there's a divisional matchup like the Raiders and the Chiefs, or the Cowboys and the Giants, those are going to be absolute fun barn burner type games. Obviously, you got the revenge game in your mind, Anthony, which is the Bills and the Titans, no doubt about it. And then you also got a rivalry game. Who's the best team in Pennsylvania, with the Eagles and the Steelers going at it? So I mean, yeah, there's some really good matchups in week 5, no doubt about it. Let's go right into week 6.
All right. Give me 1 second here. All right. Week number 6. And we have 4 teams on by that week: the Oakland Raiders, the New England Patriots, the New Orleans Saints, and the Seattle Seahawks. And we go to week number 6, and oh my God, I'm already scared of that Thursday night game.
Yikes! Yeah, I would too. Kansas City and Buffalo. Yikes!
I'm scared.
Yeah, I would be too. Not only that, but you also got a nice little, then you got a nice little matchup. You got the Falcons and the Vikings. Of course, another divisional matchup. Redskins and the Giants are going at it. That's going to be interesting. Ravens and Eagles. That could be an interesting matchup. Then you got an NFC South matchup, the Texans and the Titans. That should be a good one. Browns and Steelers. You already know the rivalry and the ugliness of that battle. Then you get the late games, Miami and Denver. Who knows how that plays out? That could be a sleeper matchup. Then you got the Buccaneers and the Packers at 4:25 on Fox. That's going to be a great matchup. Sunday night, oh my God. The Rams and the 49ers. Good luck, Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth on that one. And then the Monday night game, Cardinals and Cowboys. I think that you got to give a lot of love to the Cardinals. Especially their offseason. They picked up some really good guys. DeAndre Hopkins is a beast. How are you going to line up against Dallas in that $1 billion palace known as Jerry World, AT&T Stadium? So, no, there's some good matchups here, Florio. It's all yours, man.
And who knows, MF? I mean, week 6, Kansas City and Buffalo. You never know. That could be our game. You never know.
It could. It definitely could.
And for my Buffalo Bills, let me tell you, the first of, I can't believe I'm saying this, the first of 4 primetime games for my Buffalo Bills this season. I mean, I'm honored. And that is a primetime matchup. But at the same time, I'm scared to death because we got the Super Bowl champs coming in. And they are scary. Very scary.
Oh, yeah.
Don't believe me? Watch their Super Bowl run. That's how scary they are. I mean, when they, Kansas City coming back from 24 down to beat Houston, coming back from 10 down against Tennessee, and then coming back from 10 down in the 4th quarter alone in the Super Bowl against San Francisco. I mean, if that doesn't tell you that this team is scary good, then what does? I don't know. But Kansas City and Buffalo, to me, when it comes to our side of the ledger, I think that's the game of the week right there. But then again, we'll see. Cincinnati against Indianapolis. Joe Burrow against Phillip Rivers. I mean, that's going to be an interesting game right there. That's a sleeper matchup there. Atlanta and Minnesota. A lot of history there. Epic NFC Championship game 21 or 2 years ago. The infamous Gary Anderson missed field goal comes to mind. All he had to do was make that field goal, and the Vikings would have gone to the Super Bowl that year. But he missed it, and that opened the door for Atlanta, and you know the rest of that story. So a lot of history there. Chase Young and the Redskins. He gets his first look at the Giants rivalry. A lot of history there, absolutely. Another standout game: the Baltimore Ravens against the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. That could be a fun one there. Lamar Jackson against Carson Wentz. Houston Texans, Tennessee Titans. That's another good one right there. That's another game we should consider. Absolutely. Cleveland and Pittsburgh. I mean, especially after that after that disgusting display we saw on that Thursday night in Cleveland last year, still etched in all our minds. Miami and Denver, definitely some history there. But those final 3 games, all on the NFC side, all have potential to be classics. Green Bay against Tampa Bay. We're finally going to get to see Aaron Rodgers against Tom Brady. Rodgers and company against Brady and Gronk and them at Raymond James Stadium. Buck and Aikman are going to be all over that one. The Rams and the Niners. Do I even need to remind you about how epic that Saturday night game they had last year was? Wow. Oh, wow. That's all there is to say on that. That was a 5-star Shakespearean drama classic. And then Arizona and Dallas renewing old acquaintances, former NFC East rivals from back in the day when they were the Phoenix Cardinals. So definitely some history there. That's got potential to be something there. So yes, indeed. Those are your standout games for week number 7. Let's get into that was week number 6. This is week number 7 now. And on bye for that week, it'll be the Indianapolis Colts, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Tennessee Titans. They will be on bye for week number 7, and let's get into it. Started off with a fantastic divisional matchup on Thursday Night Football on Fox and the NFL Network. A Buck and Aikman special, as I call it, because, I always considered the NFC East their division. The New York Giants against the Philadelphia Eagles. We know the history. I mean, when you think Giants and Eagles, 2 games immediately stand out. The miracle in the Meadowlands when Herman Edwards scooped up that fumble to lead the Eagles to victory, and I think it was 78. And then, of course, 2010, we'll never forget that one. That was the greatest Giant-Eagle game ever. That 5-star classic with Deshaun Jackson's infamous punt return to win it at the end. So, Giants and Eagles. Here's a rivalry that MF and I know very well. And how many of these games have we known over the years, MF? Pittsburgh and Baltimore?
Too many to count. Too many to count on one finger. Let's say that.
Between the regular season, wild card round, divisional round, AFC Championship, you name it. We've done so many of them, and we might have that one. You don't know. Cleveland at Cincinnati. That's a good one there. How about Green Bay against Houston? Oh, wow.
That could be good, yeah.
Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson. Oh, that's going to be they're going to be lighting up the scoreboard at NRG Reliant, no doubt about it. MF's Dolphins going to be hosting the LA Chargers at Hard Rock. We'll see how that goes. Some good divisional matchups here. Carolina against New Orleans. Dallas and Washington. I always think back, MF and I always think back to that awesome commercial for that NFL Blitz video game like 20 years ago. The fans doing the Cowboys, and then the Redskin comes in and they do Redskins, right? Yeah, well, that was one of our favorite commercials. I always think about that when I see those two. Buffalo and the Jets. Of course, Buffalo will be opening up against the Jets in week number 1, second year in a row, only this time it'll be in Buffalo. Seattle against Arizona, the new look Cardinals against Seattle in the 405 window. Oh my goodness, MF. Look at these matchups coming up. Kansas City and Denver, well, we already know that history. I mean, we've had a few of their games over the years. I mean, who will ever forget when Denver won on a late fumble on a Thursday night. And then there was a Sunday night game where Kansas City won on a field goal in Denver. So that's a great 425 matchup. But MF, San Francisco and New England.
Yep.
Whoa, boy.
Jimmy Garoppolo goes back to Foxborough. No Brady, but there is Bill Belichick. Yep.
And guess what? It's on our side of the ledger.
It is. Yep.
So that could end up being our game. You don't know.
It could.
How about Brady and Gronk going to? How about Brady and no, not Brady. Gronk in Vegas. Gronk
Yep.
In Vegas.
Yep. You know he loves his parties, and well, Sin City. Normally they say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Not with Gronk there. We'll know about his escapades.
But Gronk and Brady and the Bucks going to Vegas, Allegiant Stadium on Sunday Night Football in Week 7, and then closing it out, the Chicago Bears against the Los Angeles Rams. That's an old school, that's an old NFL matchup right there from yesteryear. So without a doubt, those are the standout games in Week number 7. So MF, Week number 7 looks pretty appetizing.
It does. I don't really think I need to add. I think you pretty much summed it up, Anthony. I don't think there's really nothing else for me to add on that one. So let's just dive right into Week 8. So yeah, let's go.
All right, fair enough. Before you start, MF, let me address the bye situation. 6 teams on bye that week: the Arizona Cardinals, the Baltimore Ravens, the Denver Broncos, the Houston Texans, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Washington Redskins. Those 6 teams will be on bye in week number 8. And MF, week number 8 starts off with another interesting divisional matchup out of the NFC South.
Yeah, we do. We got the Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers. That's going to be a pretty good matchup at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. Then you got the Titans versus the Bengals. That could be an interesting matchup. You also got the Lions and the Colts. You also got the Raiders and the Browns. But look at this one here, Anthony. The Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers. That's an NFC game of the week. And on the AFC side, you got the Patriots and Buffalo in Buffalo. You already know the Patriots have always dominated the AFC East. This could be the changing of the guard moment. And this is what the Bills have been waiting for. No Brady now. The Patriots are a little more different. They're not as powerful as they were from yesteryear. And this could be the year that New England gets upended by Buffalo. It's been a long time since Buffalo got the Patriots and beat them in Buffalo. It's been a long time. It's been a while. So, could this be the year? We'll find out. The Jets and the Chiefs, that could be interesting. The Rams playing the Dolphins. And then you got the Jaguars and the Chargers. Not so much. The Saints and the Bears could be sneaky. This could be a sneaky game of the week because of the fact it's the high-powered offense of the Saints versus the pretty good, strong defense of the Bears. That could be one of those discussions. Who wins? Offense versus defense. That's a good debate to have. We'll do that later in the year. The game of the week, I gotta call it. It's probably gonna be the Niners versus the Seahawks. That's gonna be a good game. But the Sunday Nighter is just as good. Cowboys and Eagles in Philly. That could be a good matchup. The Monday Nighter, Brady and the Buccaneers versus the Giants at MetLife. That could be interesting, but I think the 2 games that really stands out for me are the late game on Fox, the Niners and the Seahawks, and the Sunday Nighter. Those are going to be the standout games of the week for me.
Absolutely. Looking at week number 8, Atlanta and Carolina on the Thursday night. Those 2 have had some wars over the years, and I expect another one there. Tennessee and Cincinnati, that's another old school divisional rivalry, old school AFC Central rivalry. Joe Burrow against the AFC runner-ups in Tennessee. We'll see. The Vegas Raiders going up against Cleveland. I mean, that's a standout matchup right there. A sleeper one that is. Minnesota and Green Bay, what else is there to say? I mean, they're going to be meeting in week 1 in Minnesota on opening day. But this time they go to Lambeau. That might be when it starts to cool down a bit. We'll have to wait and see. But Minnesota and Green Bay, I mean, always fun when they get together. Absolutely. New England and Buffalo, I mean, that's another game that I want right there. The Bills have not beaten the Patriots at home since week 3 of 2011. I remember that very vividly. It looked like New England was going to dominate, but Buffalo came all the way back, and they somehow stole that thing. And I was impossible then. So just think of how much so I'll be again. changing of the guard, passing of the torch. You better believe it. I'm ready. The Jets and the Chiefs, an old school AFL rivalry right there. That dates back to the old AFL days. Absolutely, that's why I bring that up. MF's Dolphins. Oh, you got another tough one there. You got the Rams coming in. That's not going to be easy. Even though you're at home, that's not going to be an easy one. I'm sorry to say. New Orleans and Chicago, definitely agree on that. Offense versus defense. You know, the high-powered offense of the Saints. Now, the defense of the Bears, not quite monsters of the Midway, but, you know, we'll have to wait and see on that. I 100% agree with you, MF. The game of the week right there, no doubt about it. San Francisco and Seattle, 425. That should be Buck and Aikman's game right there. And do I even need to remind you of the two amazing games they had last year? I mean, Seattle winning in San Francisco on Veterans Day, Monday night, in overtime against the Niners. And how about Week 17, the game that determined all those big moments in the NFC? I mean, the NFC West, the number one seed, San Francisco winning by a yard, literally by a yard. So I think we're in for another 5-star there. Dallas and Philly, definitely some history there. And, well, Gronk goes from one party city to another party city, Vegas to New York. Oh, boy. So we'll wait and see about those escapades. So those are the standout matchups in week number 8, no question about it. Week number 9, 4 teams on bye. The Cincinnati Bengals, the Cleveland Browns, the Los Angeles Rams, and the Philadelphia Eagles. And MF, what a way to start it off in week number 9. A rematch of the NFC Championship game right here. The Green Bay Packers and the San Francisco 49ers at Levi's Stadium. Packers will be looking for revenge. Niners will be looking to prove that win over the Niners was not, the win over the Packers was not a fluke. So Packers, Niners, what a way to start off week number 9. We're going to be tuned into that one. You better believe it. Seattle against Buffalo. I'm definitely worried about that matchup because Seattle's a good team. I mean, Russell Wilson and friends. I mean, that one is not going to be easy, let me tell you. I like this matchup right here. Baltimore against Indianapolis. I mean, Lamar Jackson and that high-powered Raven offense against Phillip Rivers and the Colts. That definitely is a standout right there. Some of these other games don't really appeal to me that much in the early window. Maybe Carolina, Kansas City, maybe Denver and Atlanta. The other ones don't really stand out to me, honestly. 4:05 on Fox, the Las Vegas Raiders travel to SoFi Stadium against the Chargers. MF's Dolphins against the new-look Arizona Cardinals at University of Phoenix Stadium in Arizona, 4:25 CBS. But look at the other 4:25 matchup. Whoa. And look at the final 2 games of the Sunday slate of week number 9, both with potential for fireworks. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys, one of the greatest Super Bowl matchups in NFL history. How many times did these two teams meet in the Super Bowl? 3, 4 times?
At least 3 times that I can remember.
I believe it was 3.
And I know Dallas won one of them.
30.
And I think Pittsburgh's won the other 2.
10 and 13.
Yep.
Yeah, Super Bowls 10, 13, and 30. Those 2 teams, Pittsburgh and Dallas, a lot of history between those 2. Big Ben Roethlisberger going up against Dak Prescott, or maybe his old friend Andy Dalton. You never know.
Yeah.
Be a throwback to the Cincy days. And then Sunday Night Football, Breeze Brady 2.
Oof.
New Orleans Saints, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. And if you want to throw it in, Monday Night Football, the New England Patriots against the New York Jets. A classic AFC East matchup right there. So even though that kind of doesn't scream standout, but you never know. So
yeah.
You never know. So
never know.
But what all I know is but you got Green Bay and San Francisco. as one headliner. And to me, the two headliners, even though there are some other good ones, but the two headliners, MF in week number 9, Green Bay and San Fran, and Brady Breeze too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You basically nailed it. The Packers and the Niners, a rematch of the NFC Championship game. That's the first major battle that you're looking at. Then you do get Seattle and Buffalo. You get the Colts and the Ravens. Those two should be pretty good. But like you said, there's not really much here until you get into the back end. Of course, Cowboys and Steelers, two teams that are synonymous, and as a matter of fact, two of the most successful franchises in the Super Bowl era. Pittsburgh, 6-time Super Bowl champions. Dallas, 5-time Super Bowl champions in their history. So there's not only just the matchup, but there's also legacy in with these two teams. So you got that going for you. Of course, Brady versus Drew Brees, this time in the new sombrero known as Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, and then obviously an AFC Eastern Division matchup with New England and the Jets. So yeah, on to week 10.
Alrighty, let me pull it up here. MF will be starting it off. Week number 10, 4 teams on bye. The Atlanta Falcons, the Dallas Cowboys, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Los Angeles Chargers. Those 4 teams will be on bye. And MF, week number 10, Veterans Day week, and we started off with an interesting AFC South divisional matchup.
Yeah, we started with the Colts and the Titans. That should be an interesting matchup. Then you got Deshaun Watson and the Texans versus Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns. Then you got the Jaguars versus the Packers. Of course, now you get a lot of divisional matchups, and boy, do we got some lumber. We got the Giants and the Eagles at MetLife. We get Tampa versus the Panthers in Charlotte. Bengals and Steelers. Look out in Pittsburgh at Heinz Field. Then you get the Broncos and the Raiders in Vegas. You get the Dolphins and the Jets in Miami. The Rams and the Seahawks. They go at it. And then the final 3 games of the week. Holy cow. Saints, Niners at the Superdome. Ravens versus Patriots at Gillette. And the Monday Nighter, just a little bit of an old school rivalry when you got the Vikings and the Bears at Soldier Field in Chicago. What a week. What a battle. Florio, it's yours.
Oh, man, you're getting me hyped, man. I mean, that's why MF has always been the hype man of this show and always will be. I mean, I love it. Indy against Tennessee on the Thursday night. Phillip Rivers and the Colts against Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee. That's a sleeper matchup right there in the AFC South. I agree with you about Houston and Cleveland. I definitely like that matchup. Philly and the Giants too. And that might be Tampa, Carolina too. Joe Burrow and the Bengals going up against Big Ben and the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Good luck, Burrow. That's all I can say. Because you know how rowdy those fans in Pittsburgh are with those towels. Oh, goodness. My Buffalo Bills against the new look Arizona Cardinals in Arizona in the 405 window on CBS. Definitely, we're definitely going to have our work cut out for us there. That's not a pushover by any means. Denver going to Vegas for the first time against the Raiders. Broncos, Raiders, lots of history there. 40, 50 years worth of rivalry there. You could say the same thing about the Jets and the Dolphins as well in Miami. But the final 4 games of week number 10 all have potential to be very exciting. Seattle and the Rams at SoFi. That's going to be something. But the game is San Francisco and New Orleans. I mean, who will ever forget that unbelievable shootout that those two teams had back in December in New Orleans? I believe it was week number 14 when San Francisco stole one in New Orleans. So we had a 5-star shootout there. We might have potential for another. You don't know. Sunday Night Football, the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson and company go into Foxborough against the Brady-less Patriots. Be interesting to see how that goes down. And then Minnesota and Chicago. You nailed it, MF. When you see Minnesota and Chicago, you think NFC Norris right there. I mean, a little shout out to Chris Berman there. That's an NFC Norris matchup if there ever was one. And it could be a cold night because that's middle of November. I think that's when the temperatures will start to get cold again. So it could be a cold night on that Monday night in Chicago. So those are your matchups for week number 10. Let's go into week number 11. 6 more teams on bye. And how about this, MF? Both of our teams are on bye in week 11. My Buffalo Bills, the Chicago Bears, Matt Ward's Chicago Bears, MF's Miami Dolphins, the New York Giants, the New York Jets, and the San Francisco 49ers, all on bye in week number 11. So we go to week number 11. This is very likely going to be the weekend of the Survivor Series, God willing. But here we are. Start off with a great matchup in the NFC West on Thursday night. The new-look Arizona Cardinals going into Seattle at CenturyLink Field against the Seahawks. Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins and the Cardinals against Russell Wilson and Seattle. That's got potential to be a fun one. Sleeper matchup, Philadelphia at Cleveland. That's a sleeper game right there. New England. Oh boy, we got a lot of good ones here in week 11. Look at this. And I thought looking at this schedule, I thought this was the Thanksgiving buffet. No, this is just the appetizer for Thanksgiving. Here you go. New England against Houston. Oh, it gets better. How about Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers against Phillip Rivers in the Indianapolis Colts at Lucas Oil Stadium? That's got potential to be fun. Tennessee, here you go. Tennessee and Baltimore. A rematch of that AFC divisional playoff that MF mentioned earlier. We all thought the Ravens were going to win that game, but oh no, Tennessee had other ideas.
Oh yeah,
they went into Baltimore and they manhandled them. Yep. They kicked the door down and they made themselves at home.
And this was right off the, and this is also off the fact that they had knocked out the Patriots, and the thing was at the time, Tennessee basically knocked out basically the top teams in the AFC because they knocked out the Patriots. They KO'd the Ravens, who is actually at the time the number 1 seed.
Best record.
And they almost, at a certain point, they were manhandling Kansas City.
The number 2.
Before Kansas City went on that big run and basically kicked the doors on the Titans, because the Titans was putting a whooping on KC as well before Mahomes basically kicked it into gear 2, gear 3.
Absolutely. So that could be our game right there. Tennessee and Baltimore, maybe, we'll see. Cincinnati and Washington, it's the battle of the number 1 overall pick and the number 2 overall pick.
Yes, it is.
1 versus 2.
Yep.
Joe Burrow and Chase Young. Let's get it on. Cincinnati and Washington at FedEx Field. Atlanta Falcons and the New Orleans Saints in the Superdome.
Yeah.
Shootout.
Guaranteed.
Absolutely. But wait, it gets better. Oh, it gets better. Maybe not Chargers, Broncos, but there's a lot of history there, whatever. But look at these final 3 matchups. 4:25 window on Fox, and a great old school NFC rivalry. These two teams, whether it was the divisional playoff or the NFC championship, these two teams met a lot in the 1970s. The Dallas Cowboys and the Minnesota Vikings at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. Buck and Aikman, there's your game right there. And how about Sunday Night Football when Patrick Mahomes and the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, they make their first ever appearance at the new Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas against the Vegas Raiders. And then look at this Monday Night Football matchup. Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home at Raymond James Stadium against Jared Goff and the LA Rams. MF, Week 11.
Yeah.
Whoa. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, there's some fun games there, no doubt about it. Now you basically hit the nail on all the games. I don't really think there's nothing for me to add here, so let's just go right into the Week 12, which is actually legitly Thanksgiving weekend.
And you know how we celebrate that day, don't we?
We celebrate Turkey Day the ravishing way.
Oh yeah, you know we do. So, week number 12, MF, hit us with that Thanksgiving slate, and I love all three of these matchups.
Yeah, we're going to start it out at 12:30 on CBS, as it will be the Houston Texans versus the Detroit Lions. At 4:30 on Fox, it's only Redskins and Cowboys. How Thanksgiving is that? And then the late game, 8:20 on NBC. It is the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. But we're not done yet. We also got the Sunday slate.
Oh, my.
And we got the Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts. We got the Chargers and the Bills. Giants and Bengals, well, we'll see. Raiders and Falcons could be an interesting matchup. So could the Browns and the Jaguars. That could be a little bit of a sleeper. Dolphins and Jets at MetLife. This is weird. This is actually really weird. Think about this. The Dolphins and the Jets play Week 10 in Miami. They both have bye weeks and then play again in Week 12, but this time it's in MetLife.
Home and home series.
Home and home series, legitly, with a bye week sandwiched in between.
Wow.
That's interesting, and that's weird. I've never seen that before. Probably never again, either. Cardinals and Patriots at Gillette. Then look at the list at the bottom. Okay, first off,
baby.
Okay, first off, just toss the Panthers and the Vikings to the side. All right, no problem. We can live with that. That's a good. It's normally a good matchup, but unfortunately, it gets tossed to the side because look what we got: Saints and Broncos, 4:05 on Fox. Niners and Rams, 4:05 on Fox. Chiefs and Buccaneers, 4:25 on NBC on CBS. But wait, Sunday Night Football, the longest rivalry in the history of the game. Bears, Packers at the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. And then Monday Night Football, Seahawks and Eagles, the battle of the birds. Florio, it's yours.
My. Oh my. Oh my. What else is there to say? I mean, Thanksgiving. I mean, Houston and Detroit, Ford Field. We'll see about that one. I'm a little iffy about it. I mean, that could be a nice win. That could be an easy win for Houston. We'll see. When I see Redskins Cowboys, how many times have those teams squared off on Thanksgiving over the years?
Oh, man. Yeah, too many to count.
Now, I'm going to bring up a funny moment here. MF and I, and I know so many of you out there, used to have a love affair with a certain show called Boy Meets World, one of our all-time favorites.
Yep.
You might know where you might know where I'm going with this. Let's see. Do you remember the episode, MF, where when Corey and Sean tried to get their families together for Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Yeah. And reason why I mentioned that.
It didn't turn out very good.
At first, but they had a nice happy moment at the end.
Yes.
Ending. Yeah, we got the happy ending. And but anyways, I mentioned that Boy Meets World episode because there was a moment where Eric was going after Corey for insisting his family go down to Sean's trailer park for Thanksgiving. But this is the standout moment. Father Alan Matthews, tried to be the peacemaker here, saying, "Hold on, Eric, don't beat up on Corey too much." And then Alan gets into Corey's face, and here's the moment. Alan gets in Corey's face and says, "Cowboys, Redskins. That's a good game I'm missing." So, yeah, look it up. So,
yes.
So that's why I mentioned that. So Alan Matthews, William Russ, you can literally say that if the circumstances come down to it. Cowboys, Redskins, that's a good game I'm missing. But that's not what I would say. To me, the real good game that you could be missing, Ravens Steelers on Thanksgiving night.
Yeah.
Oh,
man.
Lamar Jackson and that Raven offense against Big Ben and the Steelers with the be a man fight mentality those two teams have, and how many of those over the years? Oh my goodness! I mean, that's Shakespearean drama, and if I were to get into one of my relatives' faces, I would say Ravens Steelers. That's a damn good game I'm missing. So that's what I would say. So, anyways, all kidding aside, another loaded week. I mean, Tennessee and Indy, that's their second meeting. Vegas and Atlanta, that's got sleeper potential. Miami and the Jets, obviously. I mean, a rare home-and-home series in the NFL. You don't get that. In the other sports, you do. But in the NFL, no. That's awesome. The new-look Arizona Cardinals against the new-look Patriots. That's a sleeper game right there. But the final four games of week number 12 make this a Thanksgiving weekend to remember. The San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams at SoFi Stadium, 4:05 on Fox. But the game right here, 4:25. I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being our game, MF. Patrick Mahomes and the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs against Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Raymond James Stadium, 4:25. Hello, friends. You better believe we're going to be there. Or maybe we won't. You don't know. Baltimore and Pittsburgh, those are the two standout games for us. No, hands down. Maybe Tennessee and Indy as a potential sleeper. Chicago and Green Bay, what else is there to say? The oldest rivalry in NFL history on a Sunday night. And then Monday Night Football, Seattle and Philadelphia. That's a sleeper game right there, no doubt about it. So, oh yeah, we're going to be celebrating Turkey Day the ravishing way. You better believe it. So, alrighty, let's move on to week number 13. Two more teams on bye, the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They will be on bye for that week. So let's get into week number 13. Whoa, what a Thursday night game to start this week off. Whoa. How about this matchup? Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and the Dallas Cowboys against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in Baltimore. Oh my. That's got fun written all over it, no doubt about it. New Orleans and Atlanta, part 2 in Atlanta. Always fun when they get together. That's why you got to mention the Drew Brees against Matty Ice, enough said. Cleveland, Tennessee, Baker Mayfield, Ryan Tannehill. We'll see how that goes. Chase Young going up against Big Ben and the Steelers, with the Redskins and the Steelers. Vegas Raiders going to MetLife against the Jets. And how interesting is this matchup? How interesting could this be? Could we have a potential Joe Burrow versus Tua Tagovailoa matchup with Cincinnati and Miami?
Possible. Very possible.
Think about that. Indianapolis against Houston. That could be a big game in the AFC South. The Rams going up against the new-look Arizona Cardinals. And then once again, the meat of the order right here. Philadelphia and Green Bay at Lambeau. Carson Wentz against Aaron Rodgers. Think about that. And then the new-look Patriots and the new-look Chargers. The New England Patriots going to SoFi. Denver Broncos against the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Subject to change, of course. And then look at this Monday night matchup. Oh, my goodness. Look at this. I say I'm scared. But it's another primetime game for my Buffalo Bills, and I couldn't be any more excited. The Buffalo Bills against the San Francisco 49ers, Levi's Stadium. Could be our game. Might be. So that's all there is to say there. So can Josh Allen and that great defense stop Jimmy G and the Niners and Kittle? We'll find out. So those are my standouts for Week 13. But MF, Week 13, I mean, bookended by two potential great matchups: Dallas and Baltimore, and Buffalo and San Fran. What a great bookend!
Yeah, and then to have it jump off with Dallas and Baltimore, yes, New Orleans and Atlanta. That could turn out to be a shootout at Mercedes Benz. So always keep it close. Almost always is. Then you also got. There's really nothing that really stands out. Indy and Houston, maybe that could be a sleeper matchup. Philly and Green Bay. Denver and KC, obviously, and then yeah, you're right. Buffalo and the Niners are the biggest matchup of the week. So, really nothing more to add. So we're gonna go into week number 14 in this schedule.
Yes, indeed. And that Buffalo San Fran game, let me tell you, I mean, that's a game that I know Chris Berman is gonna have a lot of fun with. Because remember back in the old days of NFL primetime when he would always root for a Buffalo San Francisco Super Bowl.
He'll get to be there for that one. I hope he is down there, cause that would be perfect, man. Have Berman be down there. This was the perfect matchup for him. So why not bring the legend?
Okay, indeed. So that'll be the climax, week number 13. Week number 14, MF, we're starting it off big with a rematch of Super Bowl 53.
Yes, we are. The New England Patriots goes to SoFi Stadium in Inglewood to take on the Rams. And then in the actual week itself, you got Houston and Chicago, you got Green Bay and Detroit, Kansas City, Miami in Miami. Yikes! That's all I'm gonna say. Anthony, you had your moment where you say you were scared. When I saw this, I'm like, oh.
Do it for Stu. You know you wanna.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, bro, I'm scared. Really? I'm not. That's not good. That's no bueno. When I saw that, I did the Michael Bullock I can't take it face. Shirt over the head. Yep. Oh my freaking god, no. So, whatever. Minnesota, Tampa, that could be good. Denver and Carolina. Hey, rematch of Super Bowl 50, folks. So we got that. Yeah. Tennessee and Jacksonville could be a sleeper matchup. You never know. Indy and Vegas could be a sleeper matchup. New Orleans and Philadelphia. Who knows? That could be interesting. Atlanta and the Chargers. Then you got, then you really don't got, I mean, the late game, Washington and San Fran, I'm not really too worried about that one. Pittsburgh and Buffalo on Sunday night. Mm-hmm. You know Pittsburgh wants revenge because they want Buffalo so damn bad because when Buffalo beat them, I think it was a year ago, you jacked up their season. You screwed it up for Pittsburgh, and they are definitely itching to get even with Buffalo. So that's a game that we're going to watch. And then the Monday Nighter, hey, it's a divisional matchup. It's Baltimore and Cleveland. Can you believe it? The Cleveland Browns gets a Monday Night Football game.
Yep. In Cleveland.
I think the last time they did, wasn't that the game when they beat the Jets to end the losing streak? If I remember correctly?
They won at the Jets in week number 2. That game against the Jets that ended the losing streak was a Thursday nighter.
Oh, okay. I stand corrected. I thought it was Monday nighter. No, I was wrong.
That was a Thursday nighter in 2018.
All right. Well, all right, Floyo, it's all yours.
Okay. Week 14. Well, yeah. What a way to start it off again. Another big jump off here rematch of Super Bowl 53. I know it's not going to be the same, obviously. Brady and Gronk no longer in New England. Todd Gurley no longer in LA. But nonetheless, it's the Patriots and the Rams. We know the history. Super Bowl 53 may have been a dud, but we'll never forget Super Bowl 36 either. Super Bowl 36, I mean, one of the last, it was the second to last Super Bowl that MF had as the lead commentator, and I'll never forget it. When Vinatieri hit that field goal, MF just screamed out one of the great screaming Michael Fletcher moments of all time. Good. It's good. I'll never forget it. And saying the New England Patriots has won Super Bowl 36. Can you believe it? I'll never forget it. One of the great screaming Michael Fletcher moments of all time right there. But Patriots and Rams, nonetheless, at SoFi to jumpstart Week 14. Another Super Bowl rematch, like MF mentioned, Denver and Carolina, rematch of Super Bowl 50. Obviously, that's not going to be the same, obviously, either. Minnesota against Tampa Bay. That's an old school NFC Norris matchup. I mean, Brady and Gronk going up against Cousins and Minnesota. That should be fun. The New York Cardinals going up against the Giants. That's another old NFC East rivalry. Kansas City and Miami. Yeah, MF, good luck. Absolutely. Mahomes and the champs coming back to Miami, the scene of the crime where they won the Super Bowl. So we'll see how that goes. Green Bay and Detroit, too. I would go with Dallas and Cincinnati. I mean, how will Joe Burrow fare against the Dallas Cowboys? I mean, that's going to be interesting. Houston and Chicago, that might be a sleeper game right there, as is Indy and Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. Chase Young going up against Jimmy G and George Kittle and the Niners. New Orleans and Philly, Breeze against Wentz. That should be fun. Pittsburgh and Buffalo. How fitting. They met on a Sunday night last year, almost in the exact same spot, nearly a year to the day. So, but this time in Buffalo. It's been a long time since Buffalo had a Sunday night game, and I'm looking forward to it. You better believe it. That's the third of our 4 primetime games. And then finally, what a way to close it out. The Baltimore Ravens against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. So great matchup to end week number 14. So, all right. Now, I got to do some explaining here when it comes to the next 2 weeks, 15 and 16. In each of weeks 15 and 16, up to 3 of 5 designated matchups will be played on Saturday, with the remainder to be played on Sunday. Specific dates and start times for such designated week 15 and week 16 matchups will be determined and announced no later than 4 weeks prior to game day. So make a note of that. With that being said, let's move on to week number 15. And you jumpstart that with the Chargers and the Raiders on Thursday night in Vegas. And let's move on here. Odell Beckham Jr. and the Cleveland Browns at MetLife against the Giants. OBJ going back to MetLife. Yeah, I smell a crucifying there. No doubt about it. Chicago, Minnesota, too, right there, as is the case with Houston and Indianapolis. And then from there, Tampa Bay against Atlanta. Brady and Gronk against Matty Ice. That should be interesting right there. New England, Miami, too, in Miami. And then the meat of the order coming up right here. How about the Philadelphia Eagles against the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona? 4:05 window on Fox. But then the next 3. Look at these matchups. Week 15, MF, this could be our matchup right here. Patrick Mahomes and the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs against Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints in the Superdome. First to 50 wins. No doubt about it.
Could be. Very much, yep.
And then how about another history lesson? Sunday Night Football. Look at that matchup. How many times have we seen those two teams, especially in the 90s, in the divisional, whether it was a divisional round or the NFC Championship? A lot of history here. One of the great rivalries of the 90s in the NFC. The San Francisco 49ers, Jimmy G and George Kittle going up against Dak Prescott, Zeke, Amari Cooper, and the Dallas Cowboys in Jerry World. Oh my.
You can classify. You can honestly say It was the team of the 1980s in the San Francisco 49ers versus the team of the 1990s in the Dallas Cowboys, because that was really the eras where both teams really dominated. Because if you think about it, the Niners in the 80s, Montana, Rice, Clark, Craig with Bill Walsh. And then, of course, if you're a Cowboys fan in the 90s, when you got to talk about the triplets. Aikman, Irvin, Emmett, and Jimmy Johnson, and that crew in their era, and how they dominated in the early 90s. So, yeah, without a doubt, there was at least a 6-7 year span. I think it was like from like 86 to like 94, 95. Actually, no, all the way to like 96. There was like a 10-year gap where in the NFC, it was all about the Niners and the boys. Now, there was some other teams sprinkled in, but if you want to talk about the class teams in that 10-year span, you gotta say it was the Niners and the Cowboys, and they were literally number 1 and number 2 respective.
Absolutely. And then we close out week 15 with another. This is a great divisional rivalry. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Joe Burrow at home against Big Ben and the Steelers to close out week number 15. So that's all there is to say on that. For the most part, not really all that exciting. But to me, MF, the standouts for week 15, Odell Beckham Jr. returning to MetLife as a Brown, Houston and Indy, New England and Miami, Philly and Arizona, KC and New Orleans, San Fran and Dallas. Those right there, those are the 2 big headliners of week 15.
Absolutely, you just said it. Niners and Cowboys is the headliner going in because of the nostalgia, because of the rivalry and the legacy. And you really covered everything else. So let's go into week 16.
Real quick though, now that I look at it, I'm very curious. KC New Orleans, could that be a potential Super Bowl preview? Maybe
it could. It could definitely. I think we're just gonna wait and see. I think it could be a Super Bowl preview. We could see this. Yeah, absolutely.
And it could also very well be our game too.
Very well, yeah.
So because that's far and away the standout game on our side. That's for sure. So, but it also depends on where some of those games that are marked TBD or to be determined.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Same thing can be said for week 16. We go into week 16 and hello, what's this? A game on Christmas?
Merry Christmas, everybody, and look at the matchup we got.
Oh.
Minnesota Vikings versus the New Orleans Saints. Okay, I instantly know where everybody's gonna go with this. Diggs down the sidelines, touchdown, unbelievable. Vikings win. The miracle in Minneapolis. The heartbreak for Saints fans. We already know how this is gonna go. We already know the storylines. We don't need to rehash it. I know if you're in. And then last year, yeah, the Vikings going in, ripping it from the Saints again. I mean, yeah, I think the Saints fans are a little sick and tired of seeing Minnesota. A little. So
yeah, there's gonna be a lot. I think they're gonna be dishing out some lumps of coal.
Well, they hope. We'll see. Who knows? Minnesota might dump another lump of coal on the Saints for a third time. You never know. It could happen. So, other than that, here's the other games for you guys on the week. Of course, we got Steelers and Colts, and that matchup is always very interesting. We never know how that plays out. Atlanta and Kansas City is also a good one. Here's a rematch of a Super Bowl back in the day. The Giants and the Ravens. Super Bowl 35, anyone?
Yep.
So that could be interesting.
In Tampa.
The game was in Tampa, yes. Then we also got We also got the Bears and the Jaguars. We got Cincinnati and Houston, and then the bottom half. We got some good ones. Rams and Seahawks, divisional matchup. Eagles and Cowboys. I think we already know how that goes. Titans and Packers. Tennessee, Ryan Tannehill goes up into the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. How's that going to play out? And Monday night at Gillette, the Bills and the Patriots. And who knows, guys, if the Bills are in striking distance, this could decide the AFC East. You never know. It could. So, must-win game for either team. And just for those fans who are wondering what are the games that were TBD'd, the games are the Niners and the Cardinals. But I'm guessing that's going to be a 4 o'clock, 4:25 start. Unless they decide to move it on Saturday, which they could. You never know.
Sure.
There is the Buccaneers and the Lions, Broncos and Chargers, Miami and Las Vegas, and we also got the Browns and the Jets. So it I think it depends on the records more than anything else. But if you want to maximize the best value for the viewers, you got to do Broncos and Chargers. I think that's a good matchup. That's a divisional matchup. I don't know why you would not bump that to a Saturday game, just like Cardinals and Niners. That's another divisional matchup. You never know how that plays out. So we'll see what happens there. And Anthony, it's all yours.
I forgot to mention what the TBD games were for Week 15. I'll handle that. Buffalo and Denver, Carolina, Green Bay, Houston, Indianapolis, the Jets and the LA Rams, and Detroit and Tennessee. Those are the TBD games for Week 15, since MF mentioned the Week 16. So, and let's also not forget about the flex scheduling. You never know, flex scheduling could play a part in this.
Oh yeah.
So keep that in mind as well. Week 16, of course. What a great game on Christmas Day! Oh my, it's not often we get an NFL game on Christmas, especially with that game. That game's usually designated for the NBA, but Minnesota and New Orleans. Wow. January of 2018, we'll never forget it. That unforgettable divisional game, the greatest call of Joe Buck's career, no doubt about it. The Minneapolis Miracle, and then fast forward 2 years later to the wild card round in New Orleans. Everyone thought New Orleans was going to get their revenge, but oh no, Minnesota broke their hearts again. So, New Orleans is going to be looking for payback on Christmas Day, no question. San Francisco against the new look Arizona Cardinals. Indy and Pittsburgh, absolutely. Phillip Rivers against Big Ben, that should be fun. Atlanta against Kansas City, Matty Ice, Patrick Mahomes, that's got potential to be something. Miami goes to Vegas. The Dolphins go to Vegas for the first time at Allegiant Stadium. The Browns and the Jets. The Giants against the Ravens. Obviously, you think Super Bowl 35 when the Ravens absolutely manhandled the Giants. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the outcome in that one. Cincinnati with Houston. Joe Burrow against J.J. Watt. And that defense, oh, good luck, kid. You're going to need it. The Rams at Seattle, a 4:05 game on CBS. And Philly and Dallas, too. Good Sunday night matchup with Tennessee against Green Bay at Lambeau. And then Buffalo and New England. So, Monday Night Football. Four primetime games for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, just amazing. So, those are the standouts for Week 16. And then Week 17, the only week I usually dread because, it's all divisional matchups. A lot of them aren't really all that exciting. But if I had to pick some standouts for Week 17, Miami and Buffalo, that game could determine the AFC East. You don't know. Tennessee and Houston, definitely got to look after that one. Green Bay and Chicago, closing out the season at Soldier Field. Baltimore against Cincinnati, Burrow against Jackson and the Ravens, um, Dallas and the Giants. That's a standout. Atlanta against Tampa Bay. Matt Ryan and company. Matt Ryan, Todd Gurley against Brady and Gronk and crew. Vegas going to Denver. New Look, Arizona going up against the Rams at SoFi. And then you got Seattle and San Fran. This time in San Fran in week 17 in MF. We all remember week 17 with San Fran and Seattle this past year, don't we?
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. This was a lot of drama, a lot of excitement. Whenever you get divisional matchups, this is where, and this is why the NFL banks on Week 17, because they're hoping and they're praying that there's a one game out there that could decide a playoff spot, that could decide a divisional, seeding, whatever the case. This is the make or break week. So every divisional game is always important.
Yeah.
And this is why they want to do it this way. And trust me, in the last few years, we've had some very good divisional matchups to decide it all. And like you said, Anthony, last year was, I'll bet you anything, the NFL was salivating over the fact of seeing the Niners and the Seahawks battling it out for the division title, because they were hoping. This is why they did what they did a few years ago, to have Week 17 as an all-divisional week, hoping that a game like this or games like this could come down and decide everything. And last year they hit a home run with it, because the Niners and the Seahawks, man, you want to talk about 5 stars and beyond.
Oh.
It literally was decided by 1 yard. 1 yard decided the difference between a win and a loss. The last time a game was decided by 1 yard, I think you got to go all the way back to like Super Bowl 34.
Another screaming Michael Fletcher moment.
Yes, another screaming Michael Fletcher moment. But unfortunately, we didn't get a screaming Anthony Florio moment. But trust me, if you would have done that game, we would have had a screaming Florio moment.
Oh, we most certainly would have. And here's the thing, MF, before we wrap up, don't forget, we got a new playoff format this year.
Yes, we do.
So could Week 17 be even more exciting? You don't know. It's very possible.
Because for those who don't know, yes, there is a new format, guys. 7 teams will get in the AFC and the NFC. The number 1 overall seed, the top seed, gets a first round bye. 2 through 7 has to play out in the playoff.
3 wild card games apiece.
Yeah.
How awesome is that?
Yeah.
So definitely makes the wild card weekend a lot more exciting, to say the least. So that is that. So that will put the bow on this very special edition of Strictly Sports, our 2020 NFL schedule release special. We thank you all so very much for tuning in. We hope we all enjoyed, and we also hope that we definitely helped you out to navigate your way through the schedule.
And we didn't have to waste 3 hours like ESPN and NFL Network did. We got it all done in about 90 minutes. So there you go. You're welcome, folks.
Yeah, half the time. So there you have it. Your standout games for each week. And so now we set the table. MF, tomorrow night we got, speaking of special shows, we got a very special Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night.
Yeah, absolutely. We got SmackDown Live, the go-home show. And then after that, we're going to be previewing Money in the Bank. And we're going to do that at 10 p.m. Eastern Time.
Good. That sounds good. And then, of course, Sunday night, immediately following the pay-per-view, please hop back on over to MF's channel, BraceFan 95, as we will have our recap, the complete recap of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. That all goes down on Sunday. And then we start off with a new week on Monday with Ridiculously Raw. So that'll do it for this. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF over on BraceFan 95, it's Anthony Florio here, signing off for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock, Dede Woodson, And always and forever, Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw the Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF over on Brace Fan 95, you've been watching this very special edition of Strictly Sports, our 2020 NFL schedule release special right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Floyo, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.